Hello there, I'm John Al. Welcome back to Computer Science Associates Exam Study Guide. Today we'll be talking about a Java program structure and basic Java mathematical operators. So first for structure, this is what the basic structure of a Java program will look like. You declare a public class TET with a name. We called it test exam here. Still remember to keeping your convention that we talked about in the previous video. Next, you'll name your method. You need a main method for the program to run, and this is done by doing a public static void main string opposite brackets args. Then this is a reserved section, reserved word, reserved word, reserved words. And using this, the system will print out to the screen, to the console. It'll print out hello. That's all this program does. When you run it, it'll, using the Java virtual machine, after you've compiled it with the Java compiler, it'll print to the screen hello. Then these curly braces are what's contained within these sections. So this here, main, contains everything in those, and this here, public class, contains everything within those. So everything in here belongs to this class, and everything in here belongs to this main. You can have more methods within a class, and you can have more classes within a document. But for simplicity's sake, we have one class here and one method. And all it does is after you have compiled it and you run it, it'll say hello in the console. Next is comments. So with comments here, you just write two forward slashes, and whatever you write afterwards will be ignored when it is compiled. It'll be tossed out, because that you're telling it that this is not actually code. If you want to, you can do a star and then gap multiple lines and do another star, and anything in between that will be ignored when it's compiled. Makes it easy for commenting and explaining to your future self and to future people working on the project with you what you were trying to do with your code. Like here I might say just a quick comment, like at the end of it I might just put a quick comment that says print hello to the console or something like that, and that'd be it. And that's the basic structure for a Java program. Now within that method, let's talk about mathematical operators. So there's plus, minus, divide, modulus, and the decremental and incremental operators, as well as an assignment statement. So you may or may not know a lot about variables, but we'll talk about it in a future video. But for now we'll just talk about an integer variable. So integers, like said previously, can only hold an integer value, so we'll just call it integer number x equals 1. Now this equals is an assignment statement that sets this variable equal to 1, which may or may not be obvious, but you never know. Then we'll do one number y, and these probably should be capitalized too, to keep to convention technically. Okay, and we'll call this one 3. And this does the same. It assigns 3 to the variable number y. Now you can use these variables in different ways. now that you have them, you can do a number y equals y plus x, but this is rather clunky. So fortunately, Java has given us compound operators, which they're called that because they combine a math operation with an assignment operator. So it's a compound operator. So instead of doing this, you can say number y plus equals x, and these two things are the same. They will have the same result. Now, what exactly would be the result of these two? That is the question. So this goes ahead and finds the number y, and forgive me, I'll just put dots before. No. So this is a good example of something that could go wrong real quick. Is y, x, and x aren't actually variables. So let me just quickly replace that. Also here, same thing. And don't forget your terminator to let the program know that you're done with that line. In Java, it's a little more lenient, but you should still remember it. Okay. In fact, always put it there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, always put your terminators. Just remember to put your terminators. Sorry. Okay, so now that you have the actual here, so this first one here, it finds the number y, which equals 3, replaces that with 3. Then it finds the number x, which is 1, and replaces that with 1. Then the mathematical operator will increase these values accordingly, which you probably will know about, and that will equal 4. Then the assignment statement takes over and assigns number y with the number 4. And now number y equals 4. This number y does the same thing. What it does is just an abbreviated version, overloaded operator, if you will. But it finds number y, 3, and number x, 1, adds them together, while simultaneously it sets number y. It assigns 4 to number y. And so they both will do the exact same thing, which is very useful because there are many compound operators. Not too many, but enough. There's a plus equals, minus equals, times equals, divide equals, and modulus equals. And they all take themselves and increment or perform the operation and assignment at the same time to whatever the value is on the right side. Now we'll go over these basic operators, so then you know exactly how it is that what they'll actually do. So we already know what this does. It's the basic addition and subtraction. And as you know, with the subtraction, if you would take 4 minus 3 and assign it to some variable x that we'll say we already declared, then it'll go 1, and it'll assign 1 to variable x, which is probably very straightforward, but at the same time too, it's important to make sure that everybody understands how the computer wants to talk. With division, it's a little more tricky, but the basic idea is there, where if you put 40 divided by 10, it equals 4. The only thing is, there's two types of division. There is the integer type here, and then there is the float, or I prefer to call it double type here, which is 45.0 divided by, let's say, 7.0. Sorry, it's taking a second for it to load. Okay. Okay, in integer division, when variables have been declared as an integer, this is it doesn't include the remainder. It doesn't include a decimal. It rounds off to the lowest. So with 40 divided by 7, just in my head here a second, 5. So it goes into it 5 times with a remainder of 5. See, 5 times 7 is 35. There's 5 extra. This 5 can no longer be divided by 7 without going into the decimal realm. It is excluded, and you're left with 5 in integer division. With float, you would actually go down to the decimal level. And 45 divided by 7 would equal 6.42857.1. In general, it usually keeps 6 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it wouldn't have that one. It'd be 6.42857. At least, I think, maybe, would be about that number. But the point of a float or double, when it's declared as a float or a double variable, it will include this in the division. It'll include the decimals. When it's an integer, it throws out the remainder. But what if you want the remainder? What if you want to use integer division, but you still want the remainder? How would you do that? Well, that's what the modulus tool does. So if you modulus this at 3, 3 goes into 10 3 times with a remainder of 1. But the modulus operator doesn't care about that. It wants the remainder. And so the answer would be 1 for a modulus operator. Then for incremental decremental, they let you quickly increment or decrement a variable by 1 without writing out the whole compound operator statement. So let's say I had a variable x which equals 1. I could just go x plus plus, and then this would now equal 2. Or I could go x minus minus, and then it would return back to 1, which can be helpful when you just want to make little shifts in your mathematical operations. And that's everything you really need to know about basic Java mathematics. We'll get into variables next time. If this video was helpful, please subscribe, like the video, and stay tuned for the next one. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.